Fuji, once again for the best GT racing on the planet, the Japanese Super GT Series. 2 races in, defending champion Toyota and Honda have taken the opening honours, leaving Nissan trailing as the teams head for Mount Fuji on one of the fastest circuits on the 9-race schedule. It was Toyota's Tsurumo Lexus at Suzuka in March, then Honda's Arta NSX at Okayama in April. Well, Nissan's dream pairing of Japan, Satoshi Motoyama and Ulstead Richard Lyons, the 2004 champions, finished second at Suzuka. Can they or one of the other 350Zs take the win at Fuji Speedway today in front of 55,000 spectators at this midweek national holiday 500-kilometre race? Well, we just saw on GT500 pole the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Koguri, giving Honda its 3rd successive pole of the season. Alongside him, German Andre Lotterer in the Huzan Toms Lexus SC430. Honda's also Phil Rowe 2. Okayama winner Ralph Furman's Arta NSX 3rd from Katsumoto Kanesh's Rolling Stone Rail NSX in 4th. Well, further back in GT300, Nissan has had success. Masami Kageyama and Tomonobu Fuji taking their endless Advan-Z to victory at Suzuka, while the Toy Story Toyota MRS of Kazuya Oshima and Haruyuki Ishiura claiming the win at Okayama. Well, it doesn't look too good after qualifying for Nissan, with only the Calisonic Impulse Z of Benoit Trullier in the top 10 running 5th, and Motoyama and Lyons way down in 11th, despite carrying minimal success weight after no real success in Okayama. Well, to remind you, 2 categories for 500 or 300 HP GT cars: space frame, front and rear ends, around the original cockpit, 6-speed manual transmissions and power steering, but banned are ABS braking, traction control and carbon brakes are a problem already. Front row starter Andre Lotterer, whose Tom's Lexus has stopped at Dunlop Corner. What a disaster for the young German. It will prove to have been a differential failure. Rolling down the hill, just trying to get some power, but there's nothing there. Well, the 4.5-litre Lexus V8 SC430s and the 3.5-litre V8 Hondas of 2006 are largely unchanged. But Nissan has replaced its V6 twin-turbo over the past 5 years with the 4.5-litre V8 from its Infiniti M45 road car. And this is the first race at which both factory and customer teams have it. On the Fuji 500 grid, 16 GT500s this year, joined by another 28 GT300s, which are headed by the Pole Actio Lamborghini Murcielago. Ahead of the 44 cars, 110 laps of the 4.563-kilometre circuit, remodeled by Formula One track builder Hermann Tilke. Fuji, of course, will host the Japanese Grand Prix here on September 30th, after a 31-year break. Now in by Toyota, it'll feature Super GT again in November of its final round, but we got the green, and powering down to turn 1 at the end of motor racing's longest straight, it's Koguri in the Takata Dome who leads the pack. Right behind him there, tucked in Ralph Furman, and then Benoit Trullier, storming start for him, up into 3rd place in that Calisonic Nissan. Looks like it's going to become second in a moment as they head through the first few corners on the circuit. That's the 75R Coca-Cola. Behind them, they're starting. There is the Murcielago of Italy's Marco Apicella, Japan's Yoji Kamanashi. Let's go back then to the GT500 race, and already Luc Duval up into 4th place. A great start for him, the driver of the number 32 car there. That's the Nakajima Epson Honda NSX. And down the back end of the circuit, this is going down into Dunlop Corner. Very, very hard braking for there. They're using the GT track, not the Formula One part. So there is a chicane here. There it is. They're going through it at the moment. The Formula One cars will go on that straight bit just in front of them. Then a very, very tight turn into 07. And then round nets. This is turn 8. That brings us then back into the Panasonic corner at the start of the long 1.5-kilometre straight here under the shadow of Mount Fuji. Of course, 2 Japanese Grand Prix here in 1976 and 1977. The 76 one giving James Hunt the World Championship. Mario Andretti won that one. And there have been another 7 World Sports Car Championship races between 1982 and 1988, all in the Group C days, but it's Super GT that's made its mark on Fuji now. Circuit was closed for a year in 2005 while it was rebuilt, reopened last year, and this is the new format we're racing on. Go on your PlayStation Gran Turismo 4 and you can see exactly how the old and new circuits were. There's the rest of the GT500 field powering down the hill. Beautiful weather here, huge crowd, and as they always say locally, Sacred Mount Fuji blesses each race upon which it deigns to show its face. There's the GT 300s, the Apicella leading from the Hankook 33 Porsche of Kinoshita and the 26 Taizan Porsche of Yamaji's at the start. But look at that, the Porsche is being pushed back already, and always a collision there. That's Osamu in the Lejeune Mosler, a spinnager, several cars involved. That blue and white Mosler getting itself together, and one of the Nissans going off as well. This is the midfield battle for GT300. So already a lot of action here at Fuji. Bits flying off cars as they power down into the Coca-Cola corner, then down that long back section very, very fast. Those of you remember the Group C races here, remember how much tighter the circuit was. Tilke has put a lot of runoff areas, as you can see there, make it ostensibly safer for Formula One. Here it is back onto the start straight, and they are reaching close to 320 kilometers an hour down this straight as Trellier tries to go around the outside of Norfolk Furman in the Nissan. The Calsonic 350Z, they call them the Fair Lady Zs out here, but we know them as the 350Z. Remember, the new 4.5 litre V8 in these cars, now a big twitch under braking and down into first corner, which goes steeply downhill like Paddock Hill at Brands Hatch. Furman does actually lose the place now to the Calsonic car. So Benoit Trollier into second, a great move there, very, very safe. But Furman not as quick in all the sectors on the circuit now as the two cars ahead of him. That's the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Kagure, nor indeed of Benoit Trollier's Calsonic Impulse Z. That's the car run by Masahiro Hoshino. Loaded up with Nismo parts. His co-driver Kazuki Hoshino, son of Masahiko, the team owner. And there is our race leader then. This is Takashi Kagure, third in the championship last year. And again, Furman losing places to the Epson car now, trying to get by as they go through Dunlop, turn 6, that chicane. So really not a good start for Ralph Furman, coming here having won the last race at Okayama. Of course, first in Sepang last year, second in Suzuki when they came here for this 500-kilometer race last year. 500 kilometers, yes, that's right. It's going to be roughly 3 hours, this race. It's a long, long one in the heat here. 27 degrees the ambient temperature. So the track temperature climbing all the time up until the start of the race. We'll be looking at something like 40 degrees on the track surface. It's going to be very hard on tires. 3 laps in, there are the standings at the moment. And indeed, Ralph Furman does lose that place, but takes it back again down the hill. Oh, nice move there out of first corner, but can he hold it as they run down to Coca-Cola? I don't think so, because the Epson car, Luc Duval, has the inside line. Indeed, he puts Furman, but Furman's not giving up as they go through turn 3. Furman's back in front again, and of course, all this is playing into the hands of the Lexus right behind them. Tachikawa. They're down the back of the circuit again, very, very fast this section as they leave the hairpin, down through turn 5, into 6. Dunlop heavy on the brakes here, it's about 70 miles an hour at the best, and then into turn 7 where they're really, really scrabbling for grip here, trying not to go off on the outside. But Daisuke Ito, Ralph Furman's teammate, he's watching from the pits, wondering what is going wrong with Ralph. He's going backwards, isn't he? He's got one of the Lexuses all over the back of him now. No Supras running this year, of course. A mixture of Lexus and Supra last year, but the car gradually phased out the long-running Toyota Supra in favour of the company's Lexus SC430, and that's what we're looking at here today. On the straight again, Ralph Furman losing position. So he and Kaneshi in the real NSX dropping back as the race goes on. Is it a tyre problem? Ralph Furman really, really struggling this afternoon. He's on Bridgestone like all but the Epson NSX of Luc Duval, which is on Dunlops. There's the Zent car. Yuji Tachikawa, he won here in 2005. They had pole here in 2006. Couldn't convert the 2006 pole into a win. Nissan's then running nose to tail at the moment. Zanavi and Autotech. This is the 23 car, Richard Lyons, sharing with Satoshi Motoyama. Motoyama on board at the moment. And the 22 car, its teammate car, Nismo Michael Krum of Germany on board that car. They're running nose to tail as we just caught a glimpse of the leader there, Takashi Kogure. Ralph Furman then dropping further and further back. He's down to 5th place at the moment. And look at the lead that Kogure's pulled out already. First in Okayama last year. Set that pole at 1 minute 33.6 yesterday. Very similar conditions. Middle of the week this race. It's one of the Japanese spring bank holidays. It's a race traditionally held on the Friday, qualifying Wednesday and Thursday. Denso Carvin takes position from Ralph Furman, puts him down 1 more place. Andre Couto, the Macau driver, on board that car, into 5th. Ralph Furman drops down to 6th. Well, we're going to take a short break here on Motors. Stay with us for Super GT from Fuji. We're back with Motors, round 3 of the Japanese Super GT Championship here from Fuji Speedway. Great racing right throughout the field. We've seen problems for Ralph Furman dropping back into 6th place. This is GT300, the Lamborghini of Marco Apicella, still out front, but now up into 2nd place is the Arta-Guraya. This is the very beautiful Guraya of Shinichi Takagi and Mario Nita. Nita at the wheel at the moment, pushing that car up into 2nd place in the GT300 class. And there behind it, that blue car, the Shiden. That's the wonderful Privé Kenzo Asset Shiden, driven by Rocky Kato, who, like Shinji Kakagi, has tasted champ car and both for British and American racing. So huge gaggle of cars here, all climbing over each other. Of course, doesn't help when the GT500s are weaving their way through. It's like threading through the eye of a needle. You've really got to have your wits about you, and the onus is on the GT500 drivers not to run into the slower cars. You touch a GT300, the chances are you will get a stop-go penalty. Well, they're all over the place, as you can see, going through Dunlop. Not much speed differential. Oh, and a collision there. That's 2 of them caught up there. That's Seiji Ara in the Wudoni Z, colliding with Kanashi Riel in the NSX. These are both GT500 cars, so that's that wasn't expected. Seiji Ara, of course, Le Mans winner for Audi 2005 in the Team Go car. Let's have a look, see what happened. Well, we're following the people carving through the back marker traffic there, and in the background, who was it? Well, we never saw how it actually started, but the Kanashi cousins in the number 17 Real car colliding with the number 24 Wudoni Nissan, the Advan Nissan of Seiji Ara. Ara, only the 2nd Japanese to have won the Le Mans 24 Hours outright. The first, of course, Masanori Sakaya, exactly 10 years before, at the wheel of the McLaren F1 GTR. And there's the 17 car, then pulls over to the side. The Kanashis, that's the Rolling Stone Rail car. It's not going any further. Got a broken rear wheel, we understand. So the Kanashis, those of you who followed German Formula 3 will remember that the Kanashi name, Toshihiro Kanashi, who was at the wheel there, was the 2001 German Formula 3 champion, then did some DTM races. In comes the number 4 Ebro car. Problem for that. That's an early stop as Kanashi and Ara walk away. They're just taken over to the official car, being told by the doctor to get in, but doesn't seem to want to at the moment. Doctor having a quick chat with him. So the Ebra car there, that's Tetsuya Tanaka and Shinsuke Yamazaki in the pits. And there, behind the wall, goes the Rolling Stone Honda NSX of the Kaneshis out of the race. Here's the order then. After 14 laps, it's the Takata NSX from the Calsonic Z, the Zent SC, the Denso car of Andre Couto, that's up to 4th now, the Epson NSX of Loac Duval ahead of the Artron XS of Ralph Furman. So Ralph still in 6th place. He's holding on to that now somehow, but problems that we don't know about at the moment as they head down the hill, down through first corner. Very steep downhill section this, then very, very fast on this Hermann Tilke circuit into the 75R, which you have to kick up the dust on the inside there, and then you drift wide to the outside. Try not to get on the grass because that'll get you all wrong for turn 3, which they're going through now. Up to the hairpin now, which is right behind the paddock. Here it is, around the tight hairpin. And then they set off down another long hill section, long downhill section. Mount Fuji towering over the Hakone Valley there. Gotemba Junction down in the distance. That's the nearest town of any note. It is a railway junction. We're about 100 miles to the west of Tokyo here. It's in the middle of the Hakone National Park, one of Japan's most beautiful national parks, volcanic springs and lakes all around here, and of course dominated by Mount Fuji, who seems to remain snow-covered for most of the year. Well, there's the Legion Mosler leading a gaggle of cars and overtaking, of course. They're still clearing up the wreckage from that mess. So Fuji making its name, as we said, way back in the 1970s. Had 2 Formula One races here. September 30th will be the date of this year's Japanese Grand Prix. It's been taken from Suzuka, bought here to be able to own this circuit, and it was a big coup getting it off Honda, who own Suzuka. Suzuka may still be in the running for a Grand Prix, a European Grand Prix. Won't be this year now. Calendar's already fully booked, 18 races. They're coming up. Behind Furman is none other than Motoyama. He wants to get by in the 23 Nissan, the 22 Nissan, the sister Nismo car sitting right in its tail. The Nissan, who started off this race not looking at all good, as we said. These 2 cars starting respectively 11th and 13th, and they're now right up in the challenging for the top 6, trying to get past Furman. There's Couto's car and Tachikawa rather than in the Zent car. He has got the Calsonic car of Benoit Trullier. He's gone past him, in fact, while we're saying that. Tachikawa is now moved up into 2nd. Our race leader still the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Kogure, and Benoit Trullier, French, of course, like Loac Duval. And there are a number of foreigners racing in Super GT. This is was the battle for 2nd, but I think it's gone in favour of the Zent car now. That's the gap as the Takata car goes through, way back there now. Look, it's 10.7 seconds back to Yuji Tachikawa, winner here in 2005. He also won here in 2002, so he's got a very good track record here. But is this going to be a Lexus weekend? Lexus winning in Suzuka, Honda winning in Okayama. Does look like it's Nissan's turn. The Denso car of Andre Couto there in 3rd, carving past backmarker GT300 cars yet again. Just all sorting out positions at the moment. Yoshino watching from the pit wall as his car continues to gut the order. Great start, we said, by Trullier from 5th up into 2nd, back to 3rd at the moment. Masahiro Yoshino perhaps just wondering if he's got a problem on board. Trullier won here in 2006. The Suzuka 1,000 kilometers, won at Fuji, won the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers. This race, of course, just half that distance. Most of them 300 kilometers, but The calendar has room for a couple of 500-kilometre races. This is one of them. And 1,000 kilometres in the heat of August at Suzuka. I have to say, one of the hottest races I've ever been to. Went there in the BPR days and just cannot believe the humidity. Something in the 90% region, combined with 30-degree heat, an absolute killer. If you drink water, it just perspires straight out of you again. In comes the Raybrig NSX, the Team Kunimitsu car. Dominic Schwager, that's an early stop. Don't know why they're in quite so early. We're only up into about lap 20 at the moment. The team is having a check round. Obviously got a lot of stuff in the air intakes. Is he complaining of overheating perhaps? A bit concerned. Might be debris there. No, driver's giving the thumbs up, says it's all right. Just a change of wheel, refueling. Of course, in this longer race, 3 hours plus, there's going to be some double stinting by some of the drivers. This is one of them. The 100 car then returns into the fray. Schwager staying on board. He replaced Sebastian Philippe this year as Philippe moved over to the yellow hat Hasemi Nissan team. Look at the replay down the back stretch. This is down into Coca-Cola corner. Ralph Furman losing more ground. That is to Satoshi Motoyama in the 23 Nissan, the Zanavi factory car, the Nismo run car. Nismo run by Ijima Yoshitaka, the official tuning arm of the factory. One of the cars carrying Zanavi sponsorship. Now they're carrying Motul sponsorship, and Ralph falling back into the clutches of the Bandai car there. That's the Bandai Dunlop Lexus of Peter Dumbrek. Peter Dumbrek, the 2006 Fuji winners. They're on Dunlop tyres, that's the big difference there. One of only 2 GT500s on Dunlops. Peter Dumbrek looking for an improvement on the earlier races. Scottish driver finishing 9th in Okayama and 8th in Suzuka. Coming up the order then, looking to go past Ralph Furman. 2 British drivers fighting it out, one from Norfolk, the other from Dumfries. Down the back end of the circuit. Powering onto the main straight again, out of Panasonic, turn 9. And Dumbrek looking for a toe now behind Furman. Behind him in the number 25 Eclipse car, that's the Toyota Team Tashuya car of Manuba Orido. And through he goes. It's a nice pass by Dumbrek. But there is nothing that Ralph Furman can do. We're going to take a break. Stay with us on Motors for Super GT. Welcome back to Motors. You're with Mark Cole here for Super GT, round 3 of the 2007 series. Great racing here at Mount Fuji. We have just seen Peter Dumbrek in the Bandai car going past Ralph Furman. Ralph Furman dropping down the order. He's come in now. Obviously, they've decided to make an early stop. Is it brake problems they're having? But I don't think so, because looked like a lack of straight line speed most of the time. So Ralph Furman stays in the car. Daisuke Ito not getting out yet. A lot of debris being cleared out of the front of the car there. Again, as we've seen so many times, only needing to change the rear tyres at these early stops. Most of the races, the NSXs have managed to go the whole 300 kilometres without changing the front. So it'll be different today, of course, because 500 kilometres, I don't think anyone's going to get a full run out of the one set of tyres. Tactics coming into it a lot. In GT500s, I think all of them are going to be stopping twice today, but a lot of the GT300s are going to try and get away with just one mid-race pit stop. The race is due to go to 110 laps, so around lap 55 or so, look for the GT300s to come in. One driver change, one set of tyres, and enough fuel to do both parts of the race. 250 kilometres on a full tank. That's pretty good going. Here's the battle for third place then. Calsonic and Epsom NSXs going past one of the backmarker GT300s. The car they're going past is the Endless Advan Z of Masami Kageyama. Benoit Trullier being hauled in by the Epson NSX of compatriot Loic Duval. This is the Nakajima car. Satoru Nakajima, of course, Formula One driver and very much a Frenchophile. Always had French drivers. A lot of debris there being caught up in the front. Trellier's got some in the piece of cardboard just caught in the front of the Nissan. That is not going to help cooling. Oh, he's got a puncher. He's got a puncher in the front there. He could not turn into Dunlop. Gets himself back in. No penalty because he's been artificially slowed. He hasn't given place, but front puncher. Look for him to head into the pits now. There we are. That front left, right down. That's a blow for the Calsonic team. Run by Masahiro Hoshino, always known as fastest man in Japan. He's got to get himself up to the front straight. Then you have to cross the road when it's safe to do so and go straight into the pit lane. There we go. Nice early entry, and Trellier comes over. Trying to slow down for the speed limit signs that he's lost a quarter of his braking power, hasn't he? Look at that. Lucky he doesn't get a drive-through penalty for coming in too fast, but he could do nothing about it. Just had no grip at the front at all there, that front puncher. So Trellier comes in. Now will he hand over to Kazuko Hoshino, or will Benoit stay on board? We'll watch that. It's number 12. Nissan comes in out of third place of that puncher, and again unable to stop right on the marks. The Bridgestone man looking very worried about this. That's that tyre off, fuel going in. Can't touch the wheels until fuel's gone in. There is a driver change then, and it is Kazuki Hoshino Jr. getting in the car. It's his dad's team. Right, tyre change. Now look at that, a huge hole in the front of that Bridgestone. Bridgestone going to hide that as quickly as they can. Don't want anyone to see that. Oh my goodness, no. We saw it though, two big holes in that tyre in fact, so. Out comes Hoshino then. Here was that moment we saw down at Dunlop. He was still leading Loic Duval at this moment, but picked up a puncher. Well, first of all, he picked up that debris, didn't he? There was bits of card. Now, was there more than debris there? Because is that what punctured his tyre? That'd be interesting to see. He's back in the race now anyway, but he's slotted in way down the order. We'll pick that up in a minute as past the pits at nearly 300 kilometers an hour, fighting for position. This is fourth position between the Motul Z of Satoshi Motoyama, and he is past. The Denso car. A lot of traffic here, 44 cars. It's a 4.5 kilometer circuit. About the history of Fuji, by the way, it's originally designed as a 4-kilometer high bank super speedway. David Piper, amongst others, went there to try it out and said it was far too dangerous, a lot of major accidents, and it was then converted to a road course and opened in December 1965. It's been one of Japan's principal circuits ever since. Of course, the setting absolutely gorgeous. Just go there and have a look round and you can see is one of the most beautiful parts of Japan. Makuto shutting the door, walking to the pits there, having handed over to Katsuyuki Hidinaka. Dreadful season for those two last year. They still have one of the old Supras, could only finish 23rd in the championship. There is Trellier, sitting back, had a hot afternoon already. He'll likely be getting back in the car again. Good job getting that car from 5th place into 2nd. Here comes the Hankook Porsche, the 33 car. This is Mitsuhiro Kinoshita, well known from his Le Mans drives on Hankook tyres, as the team name suggests. And that 33 car. The Porsche GT3 RSs, the RSR not yet in Japan. Car that's now the Porsche of choice in the Le Mans Series, the American Le Mans Series, and in FIGT. We'll see those new cars, the 996 RSRs at Le Mans as well this year. There's a huge crowd here. Over the weekend, 85,000 people. I say the weekend, over the 2 days. It's a midweek race, of course. Traffic always a problem getting it in and out of the circuit. Just 2 entrances. And people, as we've seen in the past, queuing from the early hours of the morning to get in, even the night before, the really keen ones. This is no exception. In the days when we ran Group C there, as many as 100,000 spectators to see the best in world sports car racing. Those days starting in 1982. That's the first time I went there with Rothman's Porsche as the team press officer. That's the year that Jochen Mass, Jackie Ickx won. The following year, Derek Bell and Stefan Beloff won it. 84, it was Derek Bell and John Watson, all for Rothman's Porsche. 85 was the year of earthquakes and typhoons, and when the European teams pulled out, Kazuyoki Hoshino for Nissan took the win in what was largely a Japanese car race by then. 1986, Group C went back to the Vengeance. That car, that race was won by Paolo Barilla and Piercarlo Ginzani for Yus Racing. That gave Derek Bell his championship that year. In 1987, it was Jaguar, Jan Lammers and John Watson. John Watson, very, very successful here in sports cars. And then the last time Group C went there, 1988, it was again Jaguar who won, Eddie Cheever and Martin Brundle. But Brun became the world champions that year. Well, a drive-through penalty for the 39 car. That is for the Denso Saad team. Andre Couto, he's got the drive-through penalty. We don't know for what at the moment. Well, we do now. We're told it's passing under yellow flags. So obviously one of those incidents earlier on. So Couto just a little bit keen to get past some of the GT300s. It's very difficult to stop these GT500s when you've got much, much slower cars ahead of you and you're having your own race. The Denso car then, run by Toyota Team Saad. That's a team well known to Le Mans goers in the, again in the Group C days in the 80s. In comes the Zent car. This is Yuji Tachikawa handing over to Toru Takagi. Car that was on pole here in 2006. And they're immediately followed in by the Epson car. Luak Duval comes in, and Duval staying on board, we notice. Fabio Carboni, the Brazilian, new to the team this year, new to Super GT this year. He'll be taking that car over later. But Duval is the experienced driver. He's in his 2nd year in the team. Won here in 2005. So Tachikawa, we should have been, Tachikawa it was who won here. And Tachikawa then stays on board. There's Luak Duval. Stays on board as well. Out he goes. Again, just those rear tyres. This car, remember, on Dunlop, but managing to match the Bridgestones. Interesting in Michelin not having come in here. Right, here's the 23 car. This is Richard Lyons. He's just taken over from Satoshi Motoyama. Richard Lyons, the Ulsterman, champion, of course, in 2004, then went to try his hand in racing back in Europe, having had a fabulous season with Motoyama in 2004. Richard returned to the series after taking a break at the end of 2005. Came back in, had 2 second places at Sepang and Sugo, and a 3rd place in Suzuka 1,000 kilometers. Race leader, and then this is the Takata NSX. Have we had a driver change? Takashi Koguro to Ryo Mishigami. We didn't see the start of the stop. Front tires being changed though on this car, the Bridgestones. Slight delay until he gets the car going. So back out goes the car that was leading the race. And of course, as the pit stops take place, cars get shuffled a little bit, but hopefully for the Takata team, they will still be leading once the stops are over. This is the yellow hat Tomica Nissan Z. Sebastian Philippe, the Frenchman, vice champion last year, won in Motegi. He started the car and he's going to be handing over to Masataka Yanagida, who's joined the team from the 24 Wudoni car. So just a confused period of the race while those pit stops are going on, looking for virtual leaders and real leaders. But we're going to take a break here. We'll be back after these notices. You're still with Motors, you're still at Fuji for round 3 of the Super GT Championship. Just going through the pit stop period at the moment. Laps 35 we're now on. Looking at Benoit Trullier in the number 12 Calsonic car there. Had that front puncher drop way down the order, having running second at one stage. Not seeing much of GT300 at the moment, but what we can tell you is that the big battle continuing to go on between Lamborghini and the Guraya. And then Yamanishi in the number 101 Toy Story Toyota MRS. Also well up in the running there. So watching the fight for 11th at the moment. There is the second of the factory Nissans, the 22 Motul car, Mikael Krum. Oh, the spinner there. That is the 101 car we just mentioned. So he's had a bit of a problem. He's had a contact with the Amamiya Mazda RX-7 of Rio Orimi, but gets going again quite quickly. Hopefully we might see the replay. So the message we had was that the Toyota MRS got together with the Mazda RX-7. There is the Privé Scheiden, this beautiful Privé Kenzo car. Scheiden having a very, very strong season at the moment. 4.2 litre V8 in that car. And on board it, Rocky Kato, won at Sugo in 2006, remember. Car finished second in Okayama. And it finished second in Suzuka this year. So very, very strong season. This fight's still going on between the Calsonic car and the Raybrig car. This is still for 11th place. Kazuki Hoshino, remember, on board this number 12 Calsonic car now. In the Raybrig car, giving him a very, very hard time, is Dominik Schwager, who did not change drivers. Both cars fresh out of the pits, but Hoshino very, very ragged there. The little Honda tucking right underneath the rear wing of the 350Z, the Fair Lady Z as they call it here in Japan. Down the main straight, is this where he's going to get the toe? Past the Scheiden. Scheiden named after one of Japan's World War II aircraft called Purple Lightning. Can't do it though. Tucks in behind again. Down the steep turn 1. Japan's equivalent to Paddock Hill Bend. Schwager tries to get alongside, but he can't do it. Hoshino, of course, knows this circuit so well. He grew up here, karting here, racing in the junior formula here, and then now racing for his father's team in the factory-supported Hoshino Racing at Nissan. Oh, another problem there for the Furman car. That's another puncture. Ralph Furman staying on board that car. So we saw Trillier had a puncture earlier. Now Ralph Furman has picked up one in the Arta Honda. The British driver then crawling round. He's got a good half a lap to do in this car. That's a big blow. Daisuke Ito is going to be doing the final stint in the car. It looks like now he's going to have an extra stop, and I reckon they'll probably change drivers now. So Furman starting this car on pole position this afternoon, went backwards as we saw, dropped down to 6th place, starting to climb back up through the field, but this puncture certainly going to damage their chances. There is Daisuke Ito in the background. Autobacks, Japanese equivalent of Halfords, they're celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. To win the championship with this car and in GT300 with their Autobacks Garaya. This is the car that they build and run themselves. The Bandai car makes a stop there. That's Peter Dumbrett handing over to Naoki Hattori. And in comes Furman. Andre Couto certainly has made his stop-go drive-through penalty now, we believe. Oh, pulling off in the background there. That's the 25 car. That's the Eclipse Advan Lexus of Manabu Orido and Takeshi Shusia. He's only just taken this car over, and it's his father's team. It's the Toyota team, Shusia. Pulled off down just after the Coca-Cola corner, got it behind the barriers, into the pits then. Side by side comes the Bandai car, overtaking passing the car Ralph Furman's just handed over to Daisuke Ito. Come back out into the traffic, careful not to cross the pit blend line. There is Marco Apicella. That is the Actio Lamborghini Murcielago car that has up to now been leading in GT300. Now the problem with this big V12 car is it's very heavy on fuel, and no way is it going to be able to go as far as some of the smaller engine cars. 2 stops definitely for this car. Yokohama tyres being changed, only changing the rears, so obviously they're happy at the front at the moment. And Apicella, the Italian, hands over to his Japanese teammate Koji Yamanishi. Very, very strong run for this car. Last time they had a win was Suzuka in 2006. The circuit has always suited the straight line speed of this car. It's their fuel economy that could hamper them today. Well, they're in the pits. See the Junker Porsche, which started this race in 5th place. So rest. Let's see what the difference is when they leave. There's a long stop here. They are changing the front tyres now. They decided to change them. And back out goes Yamanishi in what was the lead GT300 Lamborghini. The Junker Porsche then a much, much quicker stop. 22 seconds quicker. That will cost the Lamborghini dearly, taking more fuel on, obviously. Fairly empty for once, pit straight. GT300 cars now starting to make their regular stops. Out comes the Junker Porsche. Junker Power Taisan Porsche. Started by Shimonichi Yamaji. Now handed over to Nobuteru Taniguchi. In comes the number 7, a Mamiya Drink Mazda RX-7. Rocky Erie bringing it in, handing over to Ryo Orime. And there is the Artagoraya. It's the Autobac sponsored car that we were talking about earlier. That car goes into the lead. Morio Nita on board. Nissan 3.5 V6 engine in that car. This car lost the 2004 title by a single point. Raced in 2005, but then missed 2006. It's now come back into the fray, we said, to celebrate Autobac's 10th anniversary. And Shinji Takagi, who's on board, going to become on board that car. He won Fuji. With Nita, when they were driving the Toy Story car, they moved over then to the Artagoraya. Raybrick car in 8th, having passed the Calsonic car. Here is the pass. We were watching that little battle some time ago while we were watching those pit stops. This is what happened when the Calsonic car lost that place to the Raybrick car of Dominic Schwager. If you recall, we saw Trillier handing over to Hoshino. Hoshino not able to keep up Trillier's earlier pace. In 2nd place then the Privé Shiden. Violet Lightning. Those of you who are aircraft buffs will recognise that name from your World War II spotter's guide. Very famous Kawanashi built Shiden Kai, as they called it. Land-based fighter, which entered service in 1943. 3 of those aircraft still in American museums, apparently. One at the National Museum of Aviation in Pensacola in Florida. Anyway, it's the car that counts, and built by Mooncraft. That car very much looking on for a win this year. Here's the battle then between the Epson NSX. This is for 3rd place now. And this is Richard Lyons on board. Richard Lyons, the Ulsterman, really on a charge, whereas we saw Ralph Furman going back down through the field. Richard Lyons has been coming up through it. Is that the 22? Yeah, it is the 23 car, the Motul car. 22 rather. That's Michael Krum we're looking at the moment. 22 car. They have just gone ahead of the 23 at the moment after the pit stops. There is Satoru Nakajima, Japan's most successful Formula 1 driver until there's battle still going on then between the 32 Epson NSX and the 22 Motul Z. This is for 3rd place. Onto the main straight. We're going to take a break. Stay with us here on Motors and see how this pans out. We're back with Motors. We're still watching this great battle going on for 3rd place. The Epson NSX in the hands of Loic Duval, being monstered here by the 22 car of Mikael Krum, and Krum tries to go around the outside down the hill. He does go around the outside, but can he hold it? They've got a GT300 inside them. They have to go into Coca-Cola corner now, and I have to say Krum has the correct line for that on the inside. Not a lot that Loic Duval could do that. Both these Nismo factory Nissans really hooked up now. The 22 car in the hands of Mikael Krum. He started it. He'll be handing over to Sugio Matsuda. The 23 car now in the hands of Richard Lyons after Satoshi Motoyama started it. And those two cars started in 11th and 13th places, and they're now running right at the sharp end of the field. Here comes the pass again now. Watch this. Very, very heavy braking at the end of that. 1.5 kilometers straight. And Krum just manages to put his heart in his mouth and keeps the power on the outside. He had two wheels on the grass, but he had enough motion to get through there. And through Coca-Cola corner he goes. He has it. He has the place. That is third place. He's looking for our leaders. Kugure still leading the pack in the number 18 car. Car that started from pole position, the Takata Dome NSX. As far as we know, he hasn't yet handed over to Ryo Mishigami. The Zenitsu Tsurumo car there, the 38 car in second place, the 22 Motul Ortec car of Mikael Krum in third, the Epson NSX of Loic Duval in fourth, the Bandai Dunlop car which Peter Dumbrick handed over to Naoki Hattori in fifth. We're looking for there it is, number 6 in sixth place, the 23 Zanavi car. That's Richard Lyons. Bit of a slow pit stop. He's being passed at the moment by the Forum car. Now, what is happening here? The number 6 Toyota Team Le Mans car of Tatsuya Kateoka and Bjorn Wertheim at the wheel. Bjorn Wertheim, of course, Swedish driver, the 2003 Formula 3000 champion, Jaguar test driver in 2004, champ car driver in 2005, and just really giving Richard Lyons a bit of a wake-up call there. Suddenly shot past him. It's part of the circuit. Richard Lyons is very, very defensive on normally. So Wertheim, that Forum Engineering, Toyota Team Le Mans, Lexus, very similar engines now, remember, both 4.5 litre V8s, 500 horsepower to those. We're here in GT300, the Arta Gudaya still leading. What a great afternoon this is for the Autobacks team in front of so many spectators. Just here this afternoon alone, there are 55,000 of them cheering on their favourites. This is the biggest motorsport in Japan, make no bones about it, even over Formula Nippon, which a lot of these drivers also race in, but it's the Super GT that really catches the imagination. It's the fastest GT racing on the planet in cars that look like the road cars you can buy, sort of. So Nita continuing in that car. Here in comes the 46 Nissan. This is the Husen Dunlop car of Kota Sasaki and Naoko Yokozimo. One stop for these cars. They're good on fuel. Mid-race now. So Yokozima out, Sasaki in. Here's our race leader. Kogure still at the wheel, as he has been since the start of this race. Only carrying 10 kilos of success ballast against the 65 of Ralph Furman's car and the 30 of the Zenitsu of Toru Takagi, which is in second place behind him. His lap time's coming down, look at that, 1:37, 35, 36, even with the traffic, that is pretty good consistency. His pole time, incidentally, a 1:33.6, so they're running 3 seconds off the Super pole qualifying times. The afternoon goes on here, hour and a half into this race. Estimates it'll be going probably to about 3 hours, just over 3 hours. Laps is the 500 kilometer mark. More drive-through penalties. This is for the number 7 car, which is the little Amemiya RX-7, and that's the car that was involved in the collision with the Toy Story MRS. So I guess they've had an avoidable collision penalty. This is the Vilcom VMAC 62 car. You can hear the team radio saying he's pulling off. This is Haruki Kurosawa and Shinzuki Shibahara. They won Fuji last year. This is the VMAC powered by 4.5 litre MTech V8. VMAC design coming from England, from Romford in Essex, but then turned into a race car in Japan. Here's the second overall car, Toyo Takagi, so well known to British racegoers. Formula One champ car, one of the nicest Japanese you could meet, very genial guy. It's all over though for the Vilcom team. It's a great shame, having won Fuji last year. 6th in the championship. Rolls to a halt there. No change at the moment in the top 5. Top 6 we saw a position change between Bjorn Verdheim and Richard Lyons for 6th place. Bjorn Verdheim in that white Forum Engineering Lexus SC430. Richard still holding 7th though, ahead of the Raybrig car of Roach Duval. And the Calsonic Impul Nissan of Kazuki Hoshino, running in 8th place. And there's the gap, 19.4 seconds. A very useful lead for the Takata Dome. He'll have to make one more stop. So, of course, will the Zensarumo of Toyo Takagi. The plan, we understand, is both of them will make driver changes. Kagure, of course, not having been in the car since the start. He'll hand over to Ryo Mishigami, but Takagi is going to hand it back to Tachikawa when those stops come. Quick glimpse in the pits there of Naoki Hattori. Past the crowded grandstands here at Fuji. Comes our 2nd place car. 20 seconds now back from the Takata Dome NSX. Car run by Team Honda Dome. Dome being the chassis makers of these Honda NSXs. Most of them MTech powered V6s, MTech having been Mugen in the old days. Mugen itself ran into financial troubles, was relaunched as MTech. Still part of the Honda racing wing. There's the 3rd place car, the Motul Z of Mikael Krum, sharing that car with Sugio Matsuda. 2nd in Sepang and in the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers last year. It's a very, very strong car, this. Benefiting from the new engine this year, putting it on par with the all-conquering Toyotas of 2006. Conquering Lexi, we should say. The Toyota having become Lexus, and Juichi Wakisaka, Andre Lotterer, last year's winners. Look how strong that car is on the main straight. Krum gets alongside, and they're holding it side by side right down the straight. 1.5 kilometers at nearly 300 kilometers an hour. Nothing in it. Who's going to chicken out first? They're coming down to turn 1. One of them's going to have to give way, and at the moment it's Krum on the inside. Where's this going to pan out? Because it's Krum. Krum wins it. He holds his breath longer. Or Takagi blinks first, one or the other. So change for position there. This is for 2nd place. But still, it's the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Kaguro who leads here in the Fuji 500 kilometers on this hot afternoon here in Japan. We're going to take another break. Make sure you stay with us. There's a lot more to come yet.
C'est très sexy. Des rayures. C'est comme une deuxième peau. Évidemment, le noir, ça amincit.
Polo, elle a tout pour plaire, à partir de 10 260 €.
Welcome back to Fuji. You're watching the R-Tire Garai at the moment of Mario Nita. This is leading GT300 very handsomely. As ahead, there's all sorts of problems. Oh, we've got a collision there. Two cars going off together. That's the one of the Lamborghinis. In that dust cloud there, it's the AAA car, the 66 car. That's the Gallardo of Nahui Furuya and Moniyuki Kurihara. Not the Murcielago. There's two Murcielagos as well as the Gallardo running here. That was just a coming together there. We couldn't quite see which the other car involved was, but he pulls back right in front of the Scheiden and in front of under the Nissans. He's just spun off the track down at Panasonic. There is the second place car, the Privé Kenzo Asset Scheiden. Rocky Kato on board that car at the moment. What a beautiful car this is. Everyone's favourite. Looks like a Group C car, doesn't it? And they're really, really looking to win the championship this year. 2 second places in the first 2 races and running second this afternoon. How is that for consistency? Through Dunlop then, at twitchy 70-mile-per-hour chicane. Here's the third place car, the Toy Story Toyota MRS of Oshima. That's the car we saw spun out a little earlier by the Amamiya Mazda RX-7. But he's just been plugging away and he's coming back up through the order. So that really, really is a good work. He's just going to have to make one stop this afternoon. They're coming up to that stop fairly quickly. They're in 4th place, the Wed Sport Celica. This car starting a long way down the field. Down in 12th place, in fact, in the GT300 field. So it's a good afternoon for a lot of cars starting way down the field. Akiri Aida on board that with Yuhiki Segikuchi. That's the gap between 3rd and 4th place in GT300. There are the standings. That 83 car. It's the Yokohama Advan VMAC. There again, the Toy Story car, and there behind him, the Wed Sport Celica. So great fighting all the way through the field still. And not even quite yet to half distance. That's coming up fairly soon. We're on lap 51, 52 at the moment. Middle part of the race usually just settling down after the pit stops is for the GT500s. GT300s, they're making their stops now. Here comes the 31 car. That's the APR Toyota MRS of Kaisuke Mineo. He's handing over to Yuya Sakamoto. Running on Michelin tires, as are several of the GT300 runners. That was the Legion Mosley we just saw a glimpse of there, a car that spun out early in the race. Usamu handing over to Guts Gione. Tires all round then. There's Michelin's. Fuel's in, tires are on. Everything's fine. Back out goes the APR Toyota. Oh, big sideways moment there. 300 horsepower. Going down for there's Michelin's. And back into the race. Out goes the Legion Mosler. back out comes the APR Toyota. It's pounding down the hill on the pack. Here's our third place car still then. Toy Story Racing Toyota. Still the fourth place car. And right behind them, our race leader about to put them down yet another lap. Takashi Kogure still on board the Takata Dome NSX, the best sorted Honda here this weekend, certainly. The other Hondas all seeming to fade a little bit. Having taken the 3 of the top 4 places in qualifying. Close to half distance now. Another couple of laps, be lap 55. Oh, we're going to have a problem here. Big problem. That's Luc Duval. Luc Duval in the Epson car. The Nakajima car has been a collision. The car's on fire. We're surely going to go red flag. This car on fire in the middle of the track. Luc Duval then, the French driver. Look at that. He's absolutely furious. He's been hit by a spinning GT300. There is a red flag. We've not had this for some years in the GT, Super GT. No choice for the race organisers but just to stop it. It's the 118 car, the FINA Porsche. That car apparently spun, we're hearing, and then rolled back into the path of Luc Duval's car. Takashi Miyamoto on board the FINA Glad GT3R. The fire's out. But Luc Duval is having a really good run this afternoon. 4th place when this happened, even before he could hand the car over to Fabio Carboni. Satoru Nakajima in the pits watching it on television. And Luc saying, it's okay, no problem, I'm all right. He got out the car very quickly, but look at the damage to that car. And that ignited the fuel tank. Good work by the marshals here. Always been impressive in Japan. Very, very high standard of marshalling, and I'm sure the Formula One people will be watching this, see just how efficient the Fuji marshals are. So the situation is, cars are stopped on the start-finish line, brought to a halt, engines off, and they will be, see that, they've lined them up as 500 one side, 300 the other. So Duval just looks across the track at see what's happened. I don't think he knew what happened. It came from nowhere, that Porsche. So they have actually missed the race leader, haven't they? Because it's still the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Kogure leading in 500. They've picked up the Zent car. Just look at the damage to the back of that Nakajima Honda NSX. Big impact. Doesn't often do that much damage to a rear wheel coming together between 2 cars. Don't think the cameras saw it because we're told there's no replay available. Well, here does come Takashi Kogure. Now will he be waved to the front of the line? That's the GT300 order we're looking at the moment. Arta Guerrilla. Privé Kenzo car. No, he's not. He's being put at the back. They're going to have to sort that one out. There is the Arta Guerrilla. Again, he's not at the right at the front of the GT300 cars. The way the red flag fell, they just had to stop the cars as they came along. So a very rare lull. 1 minute 30 we just noticed on the 1 hour 30 minutes noticed on the overhead gantry. So half distance more or less. The race was expected to go to about 3 hours. This will make it a little bit longer, of course. There we are, very unusual sight. The entire Super GT field lined up caught up in this first lap fire. As we said, a lot of starters. 16 starters in GT 500, 28 in GT 300, and we've lost about 12 cars already through various accidents and retirements. The first, of course, being the very, very unfortunate Andre Lotterer, who was on the front row of the grid, had his differential seized on the formation lap. Absolute disaster for the team. We then lost the Widoni car of Seiji Ara. That was out after a collision with the Real NSX of the Kaneshi cousins. And in GT 300, we lost that FINA Special Olympics GT3R. Lost a couple of other cars in collisions earlier on, and then now Loic Duval being taken out in a big, big accident. There we are again. We just saw the tail end of it. That Porsche getting back into the road. Look, Duval, so concerned about the car, he gets back in to turn everything off. Good move there. I mean, perhaps the fuel pumps were all running and still spraying fuel out, feeding that fire. That is one seriously damaged Epson NSX. Well, they'll be restarting the race after the break we're going to take in a moment, and let's see how that's going to pan out over the next hour and a half. Still 150 kilometers to go, despite the stoppage. They will go to the full 300 kilometers, we're being told. Stay here with us on Motors TV, Japanese Super GT. Well, we're on the rolling lap after a red flag, a rare red flag here at Fuji for Japanese Super GT. Collision between a wayward Porsche and Loic Duval's Epson Honda NSX resulted in the NSX sitting in the middle of the track on fire. No one hurt, fortunately, but it's a red flag. And after a 20-minute pause, we are now about to go racing again here in glorious spring weather in the Hakone National Park at Fuji Speedway. Fuji, which will be hosting the Japanese Grand Prix for the first time in 30 years at the end of September. This is, though, the showpiece at the moment. Just waiting for the safety car to pull off. His lights are off, he goes in, and we're going racing again. And at the front of the field, they got it sorted out, is Takashi Kogure in the Takata Dome NSX. He's been in the car since the start of the race. He is leading at the moment from the number 22 Nissan of Mikael Krum in third place. The Zent Tsurumo Lexus of Toru Takagi. They come down the hill and it's the Zent car trying to go around the outside. Can he do it? No, they can't. Oh, a big, big lock up there. Oh, we got Peter Dumbreck hits someone there and cars flying off everywhere. Oh dear, that's Toru Takagi got spun out there. And it did look like the Bandai Lexus of Peter Dumbreck was the closest to him. There it is, there's Takagi in the Zent car. That car was in third place at the restart. It's now been passed by the whole field, not just the GT 500s, but the GT 300s too. Into the pits goes the number 19 Wedsport Celica. That car was in earlier. I don't know why it's just made another stop. It was only in a few minutes ago. Well, Takagi gets going again. But does this mean that Peter Dumbreck is going to get a drive-through penalty? We'll have to wait and see, as a lot of passing going on down the hill here. That's the 23 car of Richard Lyons going past Peter Dumbreck. There's the Navi car into third place. The Dumbreck gets pushed back a place. Right behind them, the Raybrigg NSX, of course, having lost the Epson NSX. Out goes that Wedsport Celica again. It's had a problem, it's been back into the pits. But our race leader for the moment, Takashi Kogure, he's going to have to hand over to Ryo Mishigami at some stage. So look at that, Nissan's in second and third place, and who would have ever forecast that after their qualifying performance? 5th, 11th and 13th for the three fastest Nissans. In comes the Artegra, making its one and only pit stop. This is our GT300 leader, Mario Nita on board. He'll hand over to Shinichi Takagi, no relation to Toru Takagi. Car comes to a halt. Team dive on it. It's going to be all 4 tires on this. This car running on Michelin's. Toy Story car is in right behind it. That car also on Michelin's. And Kazuya Oshima will hand over to Hiroki Ishiura. Fuel's going in, so no activity apart from the hose-men. The moment those hoses come off, watch them dive onto the wheels. Here we go. Front wheels off. Driver changes for both cars. Just 1 stopping. So this is the race for position in the pits. Of course, all the advantages built up by the leaders of each class completely lost. Good stop there by the Automax car. Gets out much quicker. In fact, it's some 3.1 seconds faster, that pit stop, and that's going to be really important maybe at the end of this race. This is first and third place cars in GT300 when they came in. The Shiden, Toyota powered Shiden, Rocky Kato on board, goes into the lead of GT300. Here's our GT500 leader, still after some 56 laps. On board the car. Here is the Privé Scheiden, which just took over the lead of the race. Now it will drop back. Now where will he come out? Will he still come out second between the Arte Guraya and the Toy Story Toyota? Out gets Rocky Kato, man who's been in it since the start. In gets Kazuho Takahashi. Yokohama tires on this car, carrying 50 kilos of weight. That's a huge amount of weight. It's only 2 cars in this race on 50 in the GT300 class. That's the Toy Story car and this car. Toy Story having had a win, this car having had 2 second places. Number 55, drive-through penalty. There's a lot of these going out this afternoon, which is the 55 car. Let's take down the list. That's the DV Advan 4 GT. Haven't seen much of that. Daisuke Aikida, we don't know what he got a penalty for. One might suspect it was for jumping ahead, the car ahead, before they took the restart. At this stage of the race, that is the most likely cause. The Privé Scheiden, again, we're looking around 59. Good stop again. Now, where's he going to slot in? Hope we get the track shot, see if he can slot in between the Arte Guraya and the Toy Story Toyota. Out he comes at the regulation, 60 kilometers an hour. Must seem like forever down here. There's the Guraya, out comes the Scheiden, and there in the background is the Toy Story MRS, so he has done it. Oh, we got a problem there for the that Toyota Celica. Smoke pouring out of that car as it comes down the hill. Remember, that car's a lap down. So where's the Toy Story car? There it is, right there. That's third place in GT300. It will become when all the GT300s start. This is the virtual positions at the moment. First, second and third resume as they were before, but there is a problem for that Wed Sport Celica. I hope we're going to see it again. There it is. Smoke pouring out of the car. Is he on fire? Looks like he's got a circulation vent. There is fire in there. Yeah, he has got fire. He's got a dash fire. I guess it must be electrical. Trouble is he's stopped where there's no marshals anywhere near this point. This is the downhill section running down from first corner to Coca-Cola, and the fire marshal post is on the outside of the track. How are they going to get to it? That car is catching fire. It's going to catch hold. Can they get extinguishers down to it? Well, he's found one. He's found one over the fence. He jumps back with it. Now he's got to work out how to operate it. Well, just as the Toyota fire truck arrives, remember this circuit now owned by Toyota. So that Wed Sport car in and out of the pits, as we saw earlier, had some problems. This is Yuhi Sekiguchi, Akiri Aida, another well-known name from the Le Mans 24 Hours. He started that car. They don't seem to be quite tackling the blaze at the moment. It's going on inside the car still, well ablaze. So all sorts of excitement here from Fuji this weekend. This car retired in the opening race at Fuji. Sorry, to Suzuka. Lamborghini just dropped back to a little bit at the moment after the pit stop. He's leading the class at the moment because, of course, he stopped very early on. He's going to have to make a second stop. Marco Apicella handing that car over. Past the still smoking Salika. Well, here we are. These are the positions then after the first few have stopped in GT300. Lamborghini stopped quite early on. He will have to make 2 stops. Very, very heavy on fuel, as we heard. Here's GT500 as we get to lap 60 of 109 laps. They've taken it back 1 lap then after the red flag. Calsonic car fighting a big battle now with Bjorn Wertheim in the Forum Engineering Lexus. This is for 5th place. Oh, it is so close as they go through Coca-Cola, then down the hill, and Wertheim again takes position away. It's what he did, wasn't it, earlier on to Richard Lyons, and Bjorn Wertheim doing a great job here this afternoon. There we are, obviously for 5th place. So the Calsonic car of Kazuki Hoshino gets pushed back into 6th, and right behind them is the Denso Sard car of Andre Kuto and Kotsuyuki Hiranaka. Denso car tries to come through on the inside. Hiranaka on board at the moment. Oh, he almost takes position as they come out of Dunlop, out of nets, and then into Panasonic. This is Panasonic at the western end of the circuit. Then right behind them, the yellow hat. Tomica Z, the Hashemi racing car. Haven't seen a lot of that this afternoon. Sebastian Philippe started it. Masataka Yanagida is on board the car now. As we saw, this is fighting for 6th, 7th, 8th positions. The Raybrigg car there as well. Dominic Schwager handed over to Shinya Hosokawa. This is a great battle going on at the moment here. Well, still a long way to go here. The Fuji 500 kilometers, and what a race it's been so far. We have had everything: fires, crashes, stop-go penalties, drive-through penalties, plenty of pit stops. What more's going to come? Stay with us on Motors while we take a short break and find out. One, two, and 3 here at Fuji. Just in front of these 2 Nissans is the Takata Dome NSX of Takashi Kogure, and right behind him we have Mikael Krum in the number 22 factory Nismo Fairlady Z, and right behind him in the third, the number 23 Zenavi Z, is Britain's Richard Lyons, the man from Ulster, man who's 2004 champion. So this is the fight on our hands at the moment for the overall lead of the Fuji 500 kilometers. The big lead that Kogure and Ryo Mishigami's Takata Dome NSX built up early in the race. 22nd lead they had when we had a dramatic incident, a fire with Lark Duval's Honda on fire in the middle of the track after a collision with the backmarker Porsche. And that was all thrown away when the race was red flagged, restarted, and the Takata car has to do it all over again. But Nissan, as we said at the start of the program, really needing a win this weekend. They've had a desperate season so far. They've been struggling just to get to grips with the new V8 engines. The cars are running. They tried them out last year, just the 2 factory cars. There's 2 red cars, used them for the first 2 races of this year. Now all the cars, including this Calsonic customer car, have them this weekend for the first time. There's a fabulous race going on here, isn't there? This is the car that Benoit Trullier put into second early on. Kazuki Hoshino is still out front. This car, incidentally, winning the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers last summer. That was a huge, huge victory for Nissan in what was otherwise a rather unsatisfying season, having lost the championship to Toyota Lexus. And here the Privé Scheiden just ahead of the Toy Story Toyota. This is for second, what will be second place, virtual second place in GT300. He locks up and almost goes straight on. Oh yes, the Scheiden gets alongside, and that was a big, big mistake there by the Toy Story driver. That's Haruki Ishiura on board that car at the moment. So he just outbraked himself at the end of the 1.5 kilometer straight. They are shown as 4th and 5th at the moment, but of course ahead of them are the Lamborghini and one of the other GT300s that has yet to stop. These cars will not make another stop. They are getting away with one refuel, one driver change, one set of tyres. One set of tyre change. In comes the Raybrick car, the number 100 car that was caught up in that big battle for 5th. This is, I think, going to be the first of the second round of pit stops. Dominic Schweger still on board the car. He must be handing over now because he started. Indeed, he hands that car over to Shinya Hosokawa. What a good job the German's done, Dominic Schweger. Been here in the Super GT series several years. Like many of the European drivers, becomes trusted and revered by Japanese teams. You learn just enough Japanese to get by with, but not too much, because the Japanese do to a certain extent like to hide behind the language. I can tell you that from my days working for Nissan. Well, here we are, still this fight going on for, at the moment, what is 4th and 5th in GT300, but I think we'll find will be, in reality, for second place when the two cars ahead, including the Lamborghini, have to make a second stop. Privé Scheiden then charging down the hill, that gold Porsche, one of the back markers in GT300, that's the Nomad Advan GT3 RS of Hiroshi Koizuma. Or is it? No, it's the 26 car. He's managed to insinuate himself in there. That's the Junker Power Taisan Porsche of Nobuteru Kaniguchi. Now, where's he come from? I guess after that mistake was made by the Toy Story car, he got through. And look at this. This is for position then. This is for 4th in GT300. The Junker Porsche. Porsche's fading quite quickly, but remember, they're heavier on fuel as well, and they've had to make extra stops. But that Junker Porsche is certainly very, very hooked up, isn't it? And he's made a little braking error there, lock up with the rear brake, and that let the Toy Story Toyota back up again. But the Junker Taisan Porsche running on Yokohama tyres, Yaniguchi at the wheel. He's making a bid for 4th in GT300. Performance by the Porsches in qualifying. We saw Porsches in 2nd and 5th places as they start to get to grips with the GT300 regulations. And look at this, he's giving a hard time now to the Scheiden, goes past him, and no problem at all. That Porsche just seemed to have so much more straight line speed even than the more slippery Scheiden. But can the Scheiden hold it on the outside? Here we go, down the hill through turn 1, heading down for Coca-Cola. No, the Porsche's got it, and that's cost the Scheiden time because the Toyota is now right up his chuff through Coca-Cola. 75-degree radius, and then down into turn 3. That's a long, long turn. You've just got to keep the car on the inside because it wants to understeer off the track, and you've got a big runoff there on the outside, but up into the hairpin, turn 4. This is right behind the paddock. Oh, and a lock up from the Scheiden. That's going to cost that time. Surely that's going to let the Toyota by. Toyota gets alongside him as they do go on the run down the hill, but no, he's got the inside line. Down the hill then, Down through 5, which is one of the fastest corners on the track, and then braking heavily for Dunlop. Turn 6 into the chicane. He's got him, but again the Toyota locks up. This is great racing here. So position changes all around the circuit in GT300. Fabulous racing here this afternoon. Round 3 of the Super GT from Japan in front of 55,000 spectators on a Friday. This is a bank holiday in Japan today. Oh, and a big crunch there as the Scheiden gets knocked over by one of the Lexus GT500. That's not, it's the Huzan Dunlop car. That's a GT300 car as well. So the Scheiden is being monstered by all of the GT300 field. Remember, after that red flag, all these cars got bunched up. So these privateer Nissans running in GT300, climbing all over the Scheiden. I think there's some damage to the front of the Scheiden there. Got quite a heavy knock there. So has he got a problem? Comes down into the turn 1 again. He having to make way for race leader now. Still Takashi Kogure waiting for him to hand over to Mishigami. And they're in the 22 car. Mikael Krum. Well, Ralph Furman finally ends his long shift at the wheel, hands over to Daisuke Ito. Been on board that car for a long, long time. Well, Kogure is still at the wheel then of the Takata Dome, but did we see some smoke there from that car? Or was the car ahead that's smoking? Something rubbing, I think, there on the back, but it's about time they came in for a pit stop. Their second stop, we've just seen the Furman car do it. They're, of course, slightly out of sync because of that puncture early on in the race. So 2 hours and 10 minutes of racing behind them. Probably about another 50 to go. Lap 68 of 109. Getting close to 2/3 distance. There is the order. Honda NSX. From the 2 factory Nissans, from the Bandai SC of Peter Dumbreck. I don't think Dumbreck's taken his drive-through penalty he was given yet for that collision at the restart. The Forum Engineering car then of Bjorn Verdheim right behind him, and then the Calsonic privateer Nissan of Team Hoshino, driven by Hoshino Jr. We're going to take another break. Stay with us here on Motors. Plenty more action still to come from Fuji. Welcome back to Motis TV here at Mount Fuji. We are looking at Ryo Mishigami, who is about to take over the lead Takata Dome Honda NSX, which Takashi Kogure has had out front since the beginning of the Fuji 500-kilometer race. Just over 2 hours of racing behind us, in a race that's expected to go to just over 3 hours. And it has been Honda all the way from pole position, but right behind him, the two factory Nissans. A great comeback by Nissan, who've really faltered the first two races of the year at Suzuka, which went to Lexus, and at Okayama, which went to Honda. Honda looked like cleaning this one up as well, with 3 cars in the top 4 places in qualifying. But they too have failed this afternoon, and it's only this green Takata Dome NSX that's kept out ahead of the Nissans. Lexus, meanwhile, has faded. In goes the Takata car. This is its second and final pit stop. And right behind him, in comes the 22 car, Mikael Krum. Expect to see most of the others stopping now. Into the pits then comes Kogure. Out he gets. In gets Ryo Mishigami, and he was third in the championship in 2006. These two won at Okayama last year. Can they do it again here this afternoon? Team Honda Dome, 3.5 litre V6, prepared by M-Tech, chassis by Dome. Oh, and a problem for the Lamborghini. This is the lead car. Is it not? It is. It's the 88, the lead car in GT300. It's had a spin. Was it a touch? Back out goes Ryo Mishigami. And back out also in the motor car. We think presume Mikael Krum's handed back to Sugio Matsuda. Penalty then for 35, that is Peter Dumbrick. That car was involved in a collision at the restart. I presumed he'd taken it by now, but he's only just been given the board. I think that he's running out of time and they'd had to give him the penalty sign again. This is what happened then, down at the start. Look at Peter Dumbrick getting into the back of Toru Takagi, spins the Zent Tsurumo Lexus out of the race. In then comes the 35 car, takes the drive through. Naoki Hattori on board that car now. And there's the Calsonic Nissan pushing very, very hard for third place at the moment behind Richard Lyons. Just look at Richard flinging this Zanabi Nismo car around the circuit. He has yet to stop. The 22 car did. And Richard Lyons then leading. That's where he loves to be each time. In comes then the 38 car. That's the Zent car, which was spun out. Toru Takagi handing back to Yuji Tachikawa, the man who started this car. The Bandai team have paid the penalty for that spin. Drive through. We'll drop them down the order a little bit. Probably somewhere to 6th or 7th. But here's Richard Lyons, our race leader for the moment. Remember, he too has got to make a pit stop, and so too has the car behind him. The Calsonic Impulse Z of Kazuki Hoshino. In goes Richard Lyons then, takes his second pit stop for this car. There's factory Zanabi Nismo Z. He'll hand the car back to Satoshi Motoyama as one of the Porsches goes off. That's at turn 1. Claimed a lot of people this afternoon. So Richard Lyons, the man from Ulster, handing this car back to Motoyama, the man with whom he shared the 2004 championship. That's when it was rear tyres on then. Do those first, then the fuel, then they'll wait to do the fronts until the fuel man's finished. This saves time. We've seen this with Nissan Time and time again, it's good planning by Nismo. Now, where can they bring this car back out? Zanavi is information corporation, computer technology. And there they come back out. It's a quicker stop than the 22 motor car. So they've gained position in that pit stop. That was a very good move. These cars are from the same team, but they've got the 23 back out ahead of the 22. And this is looking very, very good this afternoon for Richard Lyons to get back up the top of the ladder where he wants to be. At the moment, the only car ahead of him, the Takata Dome NSX. Or have they both managed to get out ahead of that car? We'll see as they come around the end of his lap. And look at this, the 22 car monstering the 23. These are teammates, remember. Through he goes, the Autotech car, the Zanavi car, side by side down the hill. And who's going to win this little battle here? Oh, there's a back marker in the way, and that's given the 23 car the position, and the 22 car just slivers off the track there. That's Sugio Matsuda. No, Matsuda slivering off the track there. In comes the yellow hat car of Sebastian Philippe and Masataka Yanagida. They're doing a driver change as well. So Sugio Matsuda being pushed back to what will be a virtual third place. I think they were fine. We've got a lot of pit stops going on at the moment. Again, you have to wait till they're all over to see what the final position is. Yellow hat car still in the pits. As the two Nissans continue their battle, same team. Zanavi from Motul. Satoshi Motoyama. In fact, they've gone into the lead. They have gone into the lead. The pit stops were even quicker than the Takata Dome car. And in third place, the Forum Engineering Lexus SC. That's the car of Bjorn Wertheim and Tatsuya Kataoka. So what happened to the Takata Dome NSX? A longer stop, I guess, let those three cars ahead. There we are. That's the situation at the moment. This is then the battle for the lead. And look at the speed that Forum Engineering Team Toyota Le Mans car is carrying. Huge speed. He's really starting to have a go now at the back of the 22 car. That's the Mikael Krum Sugio Matsuda car. So a long stint for Krum, finally handing over to Sugio Matsuda. This pair finishing second in Sepang last year and in the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers. A spin then for the yellow hat car that's only just gone out of the pits. Masataka Yanagida taking that car over. And off goes the Calsonic car. We've got a problem down there. Is there some oil dropped? Because Benoit Trellier, who's back in the Calsonic car, he's gone off at the same place. Or did those two have a collision? A lot of smoke there. Spinach. But here we are. This is our top three. And the Calsonic car, he's got a broken front wheel. I think there's been a collision. That's what my guess is. In he comes, straight into the pits. That front wheel is flapping about in the breeze. There we go. Steering's broken. So my guess there is that he and the yellow hat car collided. The yellow hat car having just come out of the pits with Masataka Yanagida on board it. Well, that was the order at the end of lap 74. That'll change. Here's our race leader coming back through the GT300 traffic, and this is always a hard time. Motoyama having to thread his way through the GT300 cars. And that's held up the number 6 car a little bit, the Forum Lexus. But what a great battle we've got on our hands here this afternoon. Nissan and Nissan from Toyota at the moment. Who would have forecast that after the qualifying performance with all those Hondas up front on a circuit which they just really claimed as their own on Thursday here in qualifying. Today, Friday, is race day, of course. Japanese national holiday. 55,000 spectators here at Fuji. Just to remind you once again, that is how big sports car racing is here in Japan. Wait until October, when you probably, in the end of September, you'll see close to 100,000 here for the Japanese Grand Prix when that returns. Down the hill, that lead car, Motoyama, starting to put a little bit of different distance over Sugio Matsuda. And then Katoka. Or is it Wertheim in the white number 6 car there? We haven't yet seen the caption which one of them is on board. That's their pit stop. Oh, and a spinner. That's, oh, and a big hit there for the AAA Lamborghini. That was a big accident. Kurihara on board the Gallardo. We saw that car in trouble earlier on. Are we going to get a full course yellow? The car has hit the wall. There's debris all over the track. There's a wheel rolling along there, and there goes through the Takata Dome NSX. That car has fallen down the order. We don't know what the problem is yet, but the car has dropped down the order. That wheel is still going. That was a big accident. And that was coming out of turn 3, Coca-Cola. Turn 2 rather, Coca-Cola, just before they go into turn 3. Well, the driver's still in the car. We're going to get a full course yellow. Let's have a look again what happened. We just lost it on his own. It has nothing to do with the cars that were passing him. I mean, he hit that inside wall very hard indeed. That is one demolished Lamborghini Gallardo. Well, the driver's talking on the radio to his team. With the rescue vehicle in the middle of the track. Then comes the other Lambo, the car that was leading, the Actio Murcielago, Marco Apicella. Of course, heavy on fuel. He has had to make a second stop. Yoji Yamanashi. Are we going to go full course yellow, or can they deal with it with local yellows? Big worry, of course, is all that debris over the track. A lot of carbon fibre parts. So the second stop for what was the GT300 leader. This car will now be leading GT300 when it comes past the pits. This is the Artigurai of Morio Nita and Shinichi Takagi. And as they wait for the fuel to go in, they've still got to change the rear tyres. Off they come. There goes the Garai through into the lead. And the Murcielago is still in the pits. He's going to come out now. But he's lost the lead of GT300. Koji Yamanishi waving Marco Apicella there back into the race. Get back out there quickly. Now where are they going to rejoin? Are they going to be in second place? We'll have to wait till the rest of the GT300s stop. We mentioned this car earlier. This was the Porsche, the Junker powered Taycan Porsche. We knew he'd have to stop again. The Porsche's like the Lamborghinis, heavy on fuel. It's a 26 car. Nobuteru Taniguchi staying on board the car. Shinichi Yamaji started it. This car was, you remember, running in third place in GT300. Where's this going to pan out? There's our race leader, Satoshi Motoyama, multiple Super GT and Formula Nippon champion. There is the number 6 Forum Engineering car. Bjorn Wertheim, we believe, at the wheel. Well, we're going to take another break. Stay with us on Motors TV. This race is going to go right down to the wire. So all happening here at Fuji as we get to lap 79 of 109. 30 still to go here. And this in fourth place is the Takata Dome NSX that led from pole position for much of the race. It has been monstered though by the two factory Nissans, the cars of Satoshi Motoyama, Richard Lyons, and of Michael Krum and Sugio Matsuda, and not only by them but also by the big surprise of the race, the performance of the Forum Engineering Lexus of Bjorn Wertheim and Tatsuya Kataoka. Here in fourth place then comes the Takata Dome, Ryo Mishigami and Takashi Kogure, the two drivers. Mishigami now at the wheel as he takes the car into the closing stages of the race. Pit stops now behind us. Well, routine stops certainly. 2 stops for all of the GT500s. GT300, it's been a mixture of 1 or 2 stops, and that has put, at the moment, the Artigarai into the lead, despite a red flag which caught out Morio Nita, made them look like their strategy was going to go out of the window, but they are still leading just by about 20 seconds from the Actio Murcielago Lamborghini of Marco Apicella and Koji Yamanishi, with the Toy Story Racing Toyota MRS of Kazuya Oshima and Hideaki Ishiura in third place. They've been a consistent third all afternoon, and it's been a thrilling battle as they've been swapping places ahead and behind that car. With this car losing out in the pit stops, we don't quite know what the problem was. Maybe a stuck wheel. We didn't see it on the other side of the car, but they certainly lost the lead that they spent the whole afternoon, 2.25 hours, having built up. There goes the ambulance taking away the unfortunate occupant of the Lamborghini Gallardo we saw hit so hard in the wall there. That was a very, very big accident, and one ex-Lamborghini, I'm afraid, by the looks of it. That was Nahuru Furia and Muniyuki Kurihara on sharing that car. Avoided having a full course yellow. They managed to run it under local yellows despite the debris on the track. 81 laps then. On lap 81, all 109. There is our race leader, Satoshi Motoyama, in the factory Zanavi Nismo Z. Fair Lady Z in Japan, 350Z for us. This car really improving race by race this season. Lost the championship last year to Lexus, Toyota Lexus, but this car finished second in Suzuka. Very strong drive from Satoshi Motoyama and Richard Lyons. Not such a good race in Okayama, going out of the race 19 laps before the end, but coming back very, very strongly this afternoon from no less than 11th place on the grid into the lead at 2/3 distance of the race. Shows just how strong Nissan has been here on Toyota's home circuit. Lexus really not showing at all this weekend. Honda claiming pole, Nissan now leading the race. And Toyota must be wondering what has gone wrong on their home circuit. All their money now on Bjorn Wertheim and Tatsuya Kataoka. What a great job those two have been doing in the unfancied Forum Engineering Lexus SC 430. Still watching Motoyama. Probably the most experienced driver in Japan at this time. Took over the role from Kazuaki Hoshino. And Hashemi Motoyama now some 5 or 6 times winner of the Formula Nippon Series, 3 times Super GT champion. Richard Lyons going along with him. Last year, Sugio Matsuda was with him to start with, and then Matsuda was called to Formula One. So Richard Lyons rejoined the team. So Japanese fans still waving the flag. It's a little bit cool there in the shadow now, the grandstand. I mean, we're still in May, and as in Britain, hasn't been the warmest of months this May. Japan has a very similar climate to us. There is that Forum Engineering Lexus that at least is going to save face for Toyota here this afternoon if it can stay in this position. A very, very strong run. Forum Engineering is Toyota Team Le Mans. Car ran as the Mobile 1 Toyota last year. Still got those mobile stickers on there. Managed by Hiroyoshi Donuma, and Naruto Nakamura is the chief engineer. Been a very strong team for many years. Been at Le Mans, as the name suggests. And Akira Aida drove for them last year, coming hot off his 24-hour Le Mans victory. There's the yellow hat car, currently running in 4th place, Sebastian Philippe and Masataka Yanagida. So the position at the moment, every single one of the top 5 cars, because the 5th place Raybrigg NSX has Dominic Schwager on board, has a European driver accompanying the Japanese driver. Sebastian Philippe there in the yellow hat car now. Dominic Schwager in the Raybrigg car in 5th. In 3rd place, Bjorn Wertheim of Sweden. In the 22 Motor Orte, Mikael Krum of Germany. And in the 23 Zanavi Nismo, which Satoshi Motoyama's at the wheel at the moment, is Richard Lyons of Great Britain. Just having a look at the point situation. If the race finishes like this, Ralph Furman and Daisuke Ito, who led the series when they came here, will have dropped down to 3rd place, and Lyons and Motoyama will take over the top of the field from Krum and Sugio Matsuda. But they've got to finish it. There's still a fair way to go. There's a penalty now for Benoit Trullier. What's happened there? 105x. 10 seconds, we'll go for that. 10-second penalty, so that's a stop-go, not just a drive-through. So maybe an infringement at the last pit stop. There is Hoshino himself, looking rather disgruntled about that pit stop. Masahiro Hoshino, one-time fastest man in Japan. He and Kazuyoshi Hashemi were teammates in the Nissan Group C and Super GT programs for many, many years as their lead drivers. Now both running their own teams against the factory Nismo team. Here's one of the 2 red Nismo cars. Still our race leader. Well strung out then along the 1.5 kilometer main straight here at Fuji. They're still leading in GT300, the Arta Garaya, with Shinji Nakagi on board the car at the moment. Mario Nita having put it out in the lead. And what a day this is going to be for Autobacks. Sponsors the series and celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. A win in the Fuji 500 would do very nicely, thank you. Welcome back to Fuji, here on Motors GT TV, covering Super GT from Japan, round 3 of the series. Just looking at the moment at the Zent Supremo car in 6th place. This is Toru Takagi and Yuichi Tachikawa. They've had a consistent run this afternoon. One of only 2 Lexi in the top 6 on Toyota's home circuit here this afternoon. Bit of a problem on the side there, been a couple of collisions, and that car was spun out of turn 1 by Peter Dumbrek when they had a restart after a red flag at lap 52. So they've been driving with that door sill scraping on the ground. It's not enough to upset the stewards, but look, darkness starting to fall here in Japan now. Sun is going down behind Mount Fuji, and long shadows creeping in, but no shadows at Nismo at the moment because they are 1-2. And just to put that in perspective, Nismo factory cars have not had a 1-2 since Fuji here back in 2001. So that's 6 years since they've had this anywhere. This is going to be a real red letter day for the red and silver cars if they can pull it off. And what about Richard Lyons, putting him back on top of the GT world? He will be leading the championship if they can keep the car in that position. Well, the Zent car has to come in and make a pit stop. It was running in 5th, I think, not 6th, just behind the Raybrigg NSX. This car coming in then on lap 94, an orange disc. He's been given the black and orange flag for that. Bodywork on the side obviously got worse and worse as the race went on. They've had to come in, they're going to pull it off or tape it up on the wrong. Camera's on the wrong side of the pits, of course. Looks like they're taping it up. Yep, plenty of tank tape, gaffer tape. But this is costing time. And it is going to cost them their 5th place. The Raybrigg car will go through ahead, and the Zent Tsurumo car could quite well go down a lap because of this. Great shame after such a good drive by Takagi and Tachikawa. Spun out through no fault of their own, and that damage through no fault of their own either. So the chrome coloured Tsurumo SC430, not to be confused with the Ferrari F430, returns to the track. Steep drop down into turn 1, then heads down the hill towards Coca-Cola on this remodeled Fuji Speedway. Remodeled 2 years ago by Formula One circuit guru Herman Tilke. That was Tachikawa watching his teammate Toru Takagi from the pit wall. So that car rejoining in 6th place. Lost a lap on the leader now. Here though in GT300 is the Arta Guraya of Shinichi Takagi. He and Mario Nitta having had a great race this afternoon. Now got something like a 15-second lead. There it is. And in 3rd place, the endless Advan Z of Fuji and Kageyama. But they're under huge pressure from Little Toy Story Racing APR Toyota MRS, which is climbing all over the back of them. There's the gap, how it's coming down between the first 2 cars. This orange Arta Guraya and the 2nd placed Actio Lamborghini Murcielago of Marco Apicella and Koji Yamanishi. That car having to stop twice, remember, against this car's at 1 stop. The Lamborghini V12 much heavier on fuel. This Guraya powered by Nissan 3.5 litre V6. Normally aspirated, but much, much better on fuel than the 6 litre Lamborghini. There is the Lamborghini. Yamanishi having stayed for a double stint after Apicello ran it early in the race, put it out in the lead. It was a great run for them. Off pole position, did a 1:42 in qualifying. And there is the battle between the 3rd place cars. We just mentioned the endless Advan Nissan Z. There it is, in the hands of Kageyama. Oh, in comes the Takata car. This is our race leader. What's he doing in the pits? He's made 2 pit stops. He did not need to make a 3rd. Has he got a problem? We should be watching him, not this. The car to go car didn't appear to be stopping. Has he had a drive-through penalty we haven't heard about? Why were we not watching the car that had led much of the race? Anyway, for the moment, the director's deciding to follow this third place battle for GT300. 1:44 on the last lap, so the Toy Story car putting the pressure on now. He's only 2 seconds off his qualifying pace. One rubber, we're getting late in the race, and yes, the team there getting very, very excited in the pits there. We're just... they can see the possibility of a third place, getting on the podium. If Oshima keeps this pace up. In fact, Ishihara on board the car now. Again, they didn't have to make a second stop. Here they come down the main straight. Is he going to take place? He's in the slipstream, comes out of the slipstream of the Nissan, but he's on the outside for turn one. He shuts the door on him. He goes in front. Oh, Matt is for third place. He's on the podium for GT300, but he's got to keep it there. Again, he locks up there. He's very, very heavy on the rear brakes every time into turn one, and flashing headlights there from Kageyama. He wants to get by again. Let me by, he's saying. Let me by. Oh, he didn't like that at all. Trying to unnerve him, and almost like he was resented being passed. He obviously wouldn't be happy with it, but well, I don't know if Kageyama saw that coming, but when it did come, it was very, very quick. A huge speed differential there. This 13 car, having started from pole. Tomono, Buji, Fuji, and he looking for the win today. They're not going to have it, are they? Running in third at the moment. They won the opening round at Suzuka. Okayama. They finished in 7th place. So that was enough to give them 2nd place in the standings. There's the Privé Scheiden then. That's down in 5th in the class. Having had to make that extra pit stop just as the Lamborghini did, but the Lamborghini much slicker. Got the car back out into 2nd place. Something the Scheiden couldn't quite do. So running 5th at the moment, just behind the endless Advan Nissan Z. 100 car, the Raybrigg NSX of Dominic Schwager, Shinya Hosokawa. That's running in 5th overall. And in GT500, good run from them this afternoon. Raybrigg team run by Team Kunimitsu. Again, another chrome-coloured car in the race. Very difficult to apply this. Special technique they've developed in Japan. It's not tape, we're told. It is actually paint. Just as with the Zensarumo Lexus. So now coming into the closing stages here at Fuji. .99 laps of 109, 10 to go. Nissan 1-2 from Lexus, from Nissan, from Honda. Toshi Motoyama pulling out just a little bit of a lead, about 2 seconds over the sister car, the Motul Ortec Z of Krum and Matsuda. There it is in the background. .500 horsepower. Bridgestone tyres carrying just 10 kilos of excess weight. That, of course, will go up dramatically after this weekend. The Motul Ortec car behind him, it's got 20 kilos of excess weight. The Forum Engineering Lexus of Wertheim and Kataoka, just 1 kilo. So Richard Lyons will be waiting on the pit wall. No doubt anxious that they're going to get this win. He and Motoyama trust each other implicitly. They've been a team, as we said, for some years now. Great view of the crowded grandstand there at Fuji. Been on top of that. Believe me, it is very, very high up on that roof, looking down on the Group C cars. Goes past the third place Toy Story car in GT300. The second place car, Matsuda on board. Mikael Krum did the bulk of the running. 8 laps to go then. Reeling off the last few laps. We're going to take another break and we'll be back for the finish here at Fuji. Stay with us on Motors TV. Welcome back to the final part of our coverage of the Fuji 500 kilometers, round 3 of the Japanese Super GT Series. 5 laps to go, as you saw, and Nissan Nismo factory cars heading for their first 1-2 in 6 years. That was here at Fuji in 2001. On board the Zanabi Z with Motoyama is Britain's Richard Lyons. Coming back big time, having only done part of the season last year after being champion with Motoyama in 2004. And behind them, the number 22 sister car of Mikael Krum and Sugio Matsuda. And in third place, a fabulous drive this afternoon by Bjorn Wertheim of Sweden, the Formula 3000 champion from 2003, coming on strong to take the final podium place for Lexus with Tatsuya Kataoka. And there in the pits is Richard, watching progress. And already the huge crowd, 55,000 of them, getting ready for this finish. Looks like most of them are Nissan fans at the moment, despite this being a Toyota circuit. I'm surprised they're allowed to bring Nissan flags in. Toyota having successfully made a bid for the Japanese Grand Prix, snatching it away from the Honda-owned Suzuka circuit. On the progress of this afternoon's race, one does actually have to wonder what Formula 1's going to be like round here. It's a fabulous sports car circuit. This part particularly, this hairpin, very, very tight, and plenty of room for collisions. A lot of it reminding me very much of the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit, despite the hilliness of this one. It's the wide runoff areas and the turns. Anyway, there we are. There is the second place car of Matsuda and Krum. Big day for Nismo today. They've really had a hard year last year, just trying to claw everything back. But Yoshitaka Aijima, the Nismo boss, he'd be absolutely delighted today. Big result. As there goes the GT 500 leader past the GT 300 leader. 3 to go. Let's take a look back at GT 300, because this Guraya just passed That hasn't had a win since Sepang in 2005, having missed the 2006 season. They just bought the car back this year to run it to celebrate Autobac's 10th anniversary. It's a car that's built by Autobac's and raced by Autobac's. And Mario Nito's at the wheel. If he wins this afternoon, which looks very likely, he'll take a record 14th GT300 win. Nobody has got to that total. There is the car. It's not Nito on board at the moment. Nito handed the car over to Shinichi Takagi, who's on it at the moment. There is the Wertheim car in third place overall. And what a great afternoon for Bjorn Wertheim and his Japanese co-driver Tatsuya Kataoka. Wertheim still on board the car. And just to remind you, Bjorn coming into the series for the first time. He's racing in Formula Nippon with Team Dandelion. Was Jaguar test driver in 2004, did some champ car in 2005, but now carving a new career out here in Japan. Very talented, very honoured driver as far as the Forum Engineering team is concerned. He's got a useful lead, hasn't he, over the fourth place yellow hat car. A whole minute as we're about to go into the final laps. 107 completed. So for Richard Lyons, for Mikael Krum and for Bjorn Wertheim, this has been a hugely successful Fuji 500 kilometers. 1, 2 and 3 European drivers driving for Nissan and Toyota Lexus respectively. Matsuda comes through the final bend complex for the penultimate time. Through Panasonic and then onto the long 1.5 kilometer straight, the longest in Formula One this straight will be when they come here at the end of September. Just imagine the speeds Formula One cars are going to reach at the end here. So into the final lap. Satoshi Motoyama 2 seconds ahead of Sugio Matsuda and just 14.9 seconds ahead of Bjorn Wertheim. Very, very close after 500 kilometers of racing. Perhaps a little bit upset by that red flag at half distance, but even so, it's remarkably close between Nissan and between Toyota Lexus this afternoon. We still don't know what happened to the Takata car. It stopped. We saw it go in the pits. It stopped. Never came out again. Can't give you the reason at the moment. So just half a lap to go. 2.5 kilometers, and Satoshi Motoyama and Richard Lyons will take that win. Motoyama's first win since Autopolis last year. Richard Lyons, we have to go back a little bit further than that. Richard's last win was in 2005, and that came at Sepang, also driving with Motoyama. Checkered flags ready. Nissan takes the win and second place for the first time since Fuji 2001. That's Nissan as Nismo. It's a factory team. Coming in third place, the Forum Engineering car. And here, taking the GT300 win, the Artegarai of Mario Nita and Shinichi Takagi. What a great result for them. And that will put Those two, I believe, into the leads of the 2007 points. Just double checking that. In fact, not quite. Kazuya Hoshima and Hiroaki Ueshiria in the 101 Toy Story car. They will take that with third place, just behind the Lamborghini of Marco Apicella and Koji Yamanishi. But as far as the GT500 points are concerned, it's Motoyama and Glans on top of the world with 36 points, from Krum and Matsuda with 32. Daisuke Ito, Ralph Furman in third place on 30 points, having lost their championship lead today. And in fourth place, Tachikawa and Takagi with the Zensarumo Lexus on 25 points. So that's 11 points separating the top four after 3 of 9 races. It's certainly been action-packed today. We've had all sorts of dramas, crashes, spins, fires, lots of fires. Had drive-throughs, stop-goes, everything that the racing gods could throw at them. And next race is going to be in Malaysia, round 4. It's the 300 kilometers at Sepang. And that takes place the weekend after the Le Mans 24 Hours on June 24th. So it's been great having you with us here on Motors. I'm Mark Cole. We'll be bringing you all the rest of the Super GT series. And what a great win for Richard Lans of Britain. There he is. Let's leave with that image of a great driver and a great victory.